Did you know that in 2025, some countries have completely shut their doors to British travellers? That's right. If you're holding a UK passport, there are places where you'll be denied entry, refused a visa, or even risk getting detained. Some of these bans are expected due to political tensions or war, but a few might shock you. Imagine booking your dream trip, planning everything down to the last detail, only to find out your passport is useless at the border. Or worse, what if you unknowingly land in a country where Brits are heavily restricted and find yourself in serious trouble? But why is this happening? What exactly led to these bans? Some countries have cut ties with the UK over diplomatic disputes, others have closed off completely to outsiders, and a few have made it ridiculously difficult for British citizens to get in. From war zones to authoritarian states and even a place where cars must be white, this list is full of surprises. So before you make your next travel plans, watch till the end, because one of these destinations might have been on your bucket list. Let's dive into 10 countries where British citizens are not welcome in 2025. Number 10. Saudi Arabia. At first glance, Saudi Arabia might not seem like a country that would restrict British travellers. After all, the kingdom only recently opened its doors to tourists with new visa policies. But here's the catch. While Brits can technically get a visa, entering Saudi Arabia comes with serious risks. Over the past few years, multiple reports have surfaced of British citizens being detained, interrogated, and even imprisoned over seemingly minor issues. Something as simple as posting on social media, carrying prescription medication, or even wearing the wrong clothes could land you in trouble. And if you do get arrested, the UK has little diplomatic power to help you. Not to mention, Saudi Arabia's political relationship with the UK has been on thin ice. While trade agreements remain strong, human rights concerns and political tensions have led to strained relations. The Saudi government has been known to deny visas or blacklist foreigners who are seen as critical of the regime. On top of that, Saudi Arabia still has one of the strictest legal systems in the world. Laws that might seem unusual to British travellers, such as bans on alcohol, strict public behaviour rules, and harsh penalties for minor offences, can make visiting risky. So while Saudi Arabia isn't technically banning British travellers, the restrictions, risks, and recent cases of detentions make it one of the most dangerous and unpredictable destinations for UK passport holders in 2025. Number 9. Bhutan, a country known for its stunning landscapes, Buddhist monasteries, and the unique idea of measuring success through gross national happiness instead of GDP. Sounds like a dream destination, right? Well, not if you're British. Unlike other countries on this list, Bhutan hasn't banned UK travellers outright. But getting in, it's ridiculously expensive and nearly impossible for the average tourist. As of 2025, British travellers must pay a mandatory Sustainable Development Fee of $200 per person per day. And that's on top of visa costs, expensive government-approved hotels, and mandatory guided tours. Want to explore Bhutan freely? Forget about it. The country strictly controls where tourists can go, what they can see, and even how long they can stay. But why? Bhutan has always been selective about tourism. The government believes in high-value, low-impact travel, meaning they only want wealthy, responsible tourists who contribute to the economy without overwhelming their culture. Unfortunately, for most British travellers, this means Bhutan is off-limits unless you're ready to spend thousands of pounds for a short visit. So while you won't be stopped at the border, Bhutan has made it financially impossible for the average Brit to visit. The question is, would you ever pay that much to visit Bhutan, or is it just not worth it? Let me know in the comments. And if you're enjoying this list so far, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next countries that have completely shut out British travellers. Number 8. Turkmenistan. Welcome to Turkmenistan, one of the most isolated and secretive countries in the world. If you've never met someone who's been there, there's a reason for that. Almost nobody gets in. And if you're British, good luck. Turkmenistan has one of the strictest visa policies on the planet, rejecting around 90% of tourist visa applications, often without any explanation. Even if you somehow get through the bureaucratic nightmare, you're required to hire a government-approved guide to follow you everywhere, ensuring you see only what the regime wants you to see. But why is Turkmenistan so closed off? Its authoritarian government, led by a president with a cult-like personality, strictly controls media, tourism, and foreign influence. The UK's diplomatic ties with Turkmenistan are weak, and officials rarely approve visas for British tourists. In fact, even journalists and diplomats struggle to enter the country. It's a shame too, because Turkmenistan is home to some truly bizarre and fascinating sights. There's the Gates of Hell, a massive crater that has been burning for over 50 years, and Ashgabat, the eerily empty capital city filled with gold statues and marble palaces. But unless you have government connections or an extremely compelling reason, Turkmenistan remains a closed-off mystery for British travellers in 2025. Number 7. Russia. Not too long ago, Russia was a bucket list destination for many British travellers. From the grandeur of Moscow's Red Square to the cultural richness of St. Petersburg, the country had plenty to offer. But in 2025, getting in as a Brit is nearly impossible. The UK and Russia have been locked in one of the most tense diplomatic standoffs in recent history. Sanctions, espionage scandals, and ongoing conflicts have shattered relations between the two nations. As a result, Russia has made it increasingly difficult for British citizens to enter, with visa applications being delayed, denied, or simply ignored. Even if you manage to get a visa, travelling to Russia comes with serious risks. The UK government has warned its citizens about potential detainment, surveillance, and difficulties in receiving consular support. Simply being a British national in Russia could raise suspicion, and foreign travellers have reported facing aggressive questioning at airports and border checkpoints. On top of that, direct flights between the UK and Russia remain limited or entirely suspended, making travel even more complicated. Some Brits who have visited recently described the experience as walking on eggshells, unsure of what might be considered a violation of local laws. So, while Russia isn't issuing an outright ban on British tourists, the visa restrictions, political tensions, and security concerns make it one of the most difficult and risky destinations for UK travellers in 2025. Number 6. Iran. Iran is one of the world's richest cultural hubs, home to ancient cities, breathtaking mosques, and a civilization dating back thousands of years. Cities like Tehran, Shiraz, and Isfahan are bursting with history, art, and hospitality. But if you hold a British passport, visiting this fascinating country in 2025 might be nothing more than a dream. Diplomatic ties between the UK and Iran have been tense for decades, and recently they've reached an all-time low. The result? Extremely strict travel restrictions for British citizens. The Iranian government often suspects UK visitors of espionage or political motives, meaning British tourists face a very high chance of visa denials or lengthy delays. Even worse, British-Iranian dual nationals have faced arbitrary arrests and detentions, heightening fears among UK travellers. The Foreign Office explicitly advises against travelling to Iran due to these risks, making it nearly impossible to get insurance or diplomatic protection. And yet, the cultural draw of Iran is undeniable. Imagine wandering through the magnificent ruins of Persepolis, exploring colourful bazaars filled with spices and handmade crafts, or enjoying tea in a traditional Persian garden. Unfortunately for Brits, these experiences are largely inaccessible due to political complexities beyond their control. Unless diplomatic relations dramatically improve, Iran remains firmly on the list of countries where British travellers are either unwelcome or heavily restricted. In other words, if you're British, Iran might stay just beyond your reach in 2025. One more remarkable country you might never see. Number 5. Libya. Libya is home to some of the most stunning Roman ruins in the world, vast stretches of untouched Sahara Desert, and a coastline that once rivaled the Mediterranean's top tourist destinations. But for British travellers in 2025, it's a no-go zone. Since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, Libya has been in a constant state of chaos. Warring militias, an unstable government, and terrorist activity have made it one of the most dangerous countries on the planet. And when it comes to British citizens, the situation is even worse. The UK played a key role in NATO's military intervention during Libya's civil war, which has left a lasting resentment in parts of the country. Because of this, British travellers, especially those with government or media ties, are often viewed with suspicion. There's also the issue of no functioning British embassy in Libya. That means if you run into trouble, there's no consular support to help you out. Kidnappings, violent crime, and even targeted attacks against foreigners have been reported, making travel far too risky. Even if you somehow wanted to visit, getting a visa is next to impossible. Libya's borders are tightly controlled, and airlines have suspended most international flights. Simply put, unless you have an urgent and government-approved reason, British citizens are completely locked out of Libya in 2025. It's a tragic situation because Libya is home to incredible historical sites, like the ancient city of Leptis Magna, a Roman ruin that rivals Pompeii. But for now, those wonders remain off-limits to British tourists. Number 4. Syria. Once upon a time, Syria was a hidden gem for adventurous travelers, home to breathtaking landscapes, vibrant souks, and some of the oldest cities in the world. Damascus, Aleppo, and Palmyra were must-visit destinations for history lovers. But in 2025, Syria is practically impossible for British citizens to enter. Over a decade of war has left the country in ruins, with ongoing conflicts, political instability, and one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. The UK has no diplomatic relations with Syria, and the British government has imposed heavy sanctions on the Syrian regime. In response, Syria has made it extremely difficult, if not outright impossible, for Brits to obtain a visa. Even if you somehow managed to enter, you'd be taking an enormous risk. Kidnappings, surveillance, and detainments are commonplace, and foreign visitors, especially those from Western countries, are viewed with suspicion. There have even been cases of foreign nationals being arrested on espionage charges. To make matters worse, entering Syria without permission is illegal under UK law. That's right. If you travel there without authorization, you could be prosecuted upon return to the UK. The Foreign Office strongly warns against all travel, and flights between the UK and Syria remain completely suspended. It's heartbreaking because Syria's ancient ruins, including the majestic city of Palmyra, were once some of the most stunning historical sites on Earth. But as of 2025, for British travellers, Syria remains a closed and highly dangerous destination, one that may never be safe to visit again. Number 3. Yemen is a country of stunning natural beauty, rich history, and incredible hospitality. Yet it's also one of the most dangerous places on Earth. In 2025, British citizens are completely barred from entering due to ongoing war, political instability, and extreme security risks. For over a decade, Yemen has been trapped in a devastating civil war with multiple factions fighting for control. The conflict has led to one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, with widespread famine, disease outbreaks, and collapsed infrastructure. And for foreigners, especially British citizens, the risks are life-threatening. Brits attempting to enter Yemen will face major obstacles, starting with the fact that there's no functioning British embassy in the country. This means that if something goes wrong, whether it's an arrest, kidnapping, or medical emergency, there's no consular help available. Even more alarming, British nationals have been specifically targeted by extremist groups in the region. There have been cases of Westerners being kidnapped for ransom or even used in political negotiations. The UK government strongly advises against all travel, and flights to Yemen are practically non-existent for British passport holders. But perhaps the biggest tragedy is what's been lost. Yemen is home to ancient cities like Sana'a and Shibam, often called the Manhattan of the desert, due to its towering mud brick skyscrapers. These sites were once UNESCO World Heritage Wonders, but today they're inaccessible to the world. As of 2025, Yemen remains completely off-limits to British travellers, and there's no sign of that changing anytime soon. Number 2. North Korea. North Korea has always been one of the most mysterious and isolated countries in the world, but in 2025, getting in as a British citizen is virtually impossible. Once upon a time, a handful of adventurous tourists could visit on heavily controlled government tours. But now, the doors are completely shut. Following years of increasing tensions between North Korea and Western nations, relations between Pyongyang and London have collapsed. The UK has condemned North Korea's human rights abuses, nuclear tests, and cyber attacks, leading to worsening diplomatic ties. In response, the North Korean government has severely restricted visas for British citizens and in many cases outright refuses them. Even if you somehow manage to secure a rare visa, traveling to North Korea comes with massive risks. The country is infamous for its harsh punishments on foreigners, including long-term imprisonment for what may seem like minor offenses, such as leaving a newspaper with a leader's photo on the floor or taking an unauthorized picture. On top of that, British diplomats have zero power to help you if you get into trouble. The UK does not have an embassy in North Korea, meaning that if you're detained, you're on your own. With border closures, strict government controls, and the growing risk of diplomatic fallout, North Korea remains one of the most difficult and dangerous places for British travellers in 2025. And unless you're willing to risk detainment, constant surveillance, and the complete absence of personal freedom, it's safe to say that North Korea is a destination best left off the itinerary. Number 1. Afghanistan. If there's one country that British citizens absolutely cannot visit in 2025, it's Afghanistan. Since the Taliban regained control in 2021, the country has become one of the most dangerous places in the world, especially for Western travellers. And for British passport holders, it's practically a death sentence. Diplomatic relations between the UK and Afghanistan have completely collapsed. The British embassy has shut down, and there is no consular support for UK citizens in the country. This means that if you get arrested, kidnapped, or caught in a violent conflict, there's no one to help you. The situation is even worse because the Taliban considers British nationals to be enemies due to the UK's military involvement in Afghanistan over the past 2 decades. Foreigners, especially those from the UK, are at extreme risk of being detained, interrogated, or used as political bargaining chips. Even if you're not a tourist, but a journalist or aid worker, getting a visa is next to impossible. And if you somehow enter Afghanistan without proper documentation, you could be accused of espionage, which carries severe consequences under the Taliban's rule. It's tragic because Afghanistan was once a country of breathtaking landscapes, ancient cities, and rich cultural heritage. But in 2025, for British citizens, it remains a no-go zone, where stepping foot on Afghan soil could be one of the biggest mistakes of your life. Simply put, if you're British, Afghanistan is the last place you should ever consider visiting. And there you have it, 10 countries where British travellers are simply not welcome in 2025. Some due to war, others due to politics, and a few with reasons that are just plain bizarre. Which one surprised you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you found this video interesting, check out our previous video, link on the screen, for more eye-opening travel facts. And hey, we put a ton of effort into making these videos, so if you want to support us, just hit that subscribe button. It's free and takes just one click. See you in the next one.